off for a minute and rotate my desk so it's the right way.
Okay.
So after we do like intros and stuff, I'll vanish for a brief moment.
Yeah, you're good. So let me make sure we're actually live on YouTube.
Yes, it looks like we are.
Yes, we are. Perfect. All right. So, hi, everybody. We are officially here and live and ready to discuss Yona. We've all kind of had hectic days, so if this is Hot Mess Express, we're sorry in advance.
Listen,
It's just been that kind of day for all of us. So
they
don't
literally
worry.
texted me and said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I've got an hour." No, you don't. Oh, fuck. Run upstairs. I was already up here. I just was like getting situated still. And I was like, oh, this will take me a hot minute. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
so let's quickly, while we're waiting for a few more people to show up, let's go around, have everybody introduce themselves. And yeah, we'll just start with Marg.
Hey, I'm Marg, and I have a channel on YouTube called Marg Reads Manga. It's just all about manga, so should be having a video go up on Friday, which I just realized I need to still edit. But it's like
that's the worst realization.
Shop with me, shop with me video. So hopefully I can get that up this Friday. If not, Saturday.
There you go.
Here you go. That's always valid.
Yeah.
It's my turn. You.
I was like, oh, it's my turn now already. Okay. Hi, I'm Izzy. Why we're late. Part of it. Sorry. Apologies. I don't like being the reason people are late for things, but whatever happens. I talk about romance, manga, all the things on my YouTube channel, Happy for Now. And I don't know, I'm really happy. Like, I feel like I know we're not halfway technically, but it feels like we're halfway, if that makes sense.
We're getting close to the halfway point. We could get volume 40 before the end of the year.
Yes.
So in our next set, we'll officially be halfway.
Yeah. So like, that's why I say like, it feels like we're like nearing that spot. It feels good. I like it. I'm happy about it.
Exactly. And for those of you coming from other people's channels, I'm Shay. This is my channel, Shay Geeks Out, where I talk about all the things that I love and geek out about. That's mostly manga and books. Occasionally, I throw in a planner video there, here and there just for me. I don't necessarily make those for anybody else but me, but I do have people who seem to like them when I post them. So yes, tonight we are going to be here talking about Yona of the Dawn, volumes 11 through 15. We will be doing a full spoiler chat about this. So if you have not read these volumes and do not want to be spoiled, this might not be the live stream for you. If you're watching this back on playback, again, these are really hard to talk about without spoilers because we're 10 volumes deep in a series. That's all spoilers at this point. So again, full spoilers. I believe I don't believe it's finished in Japan. Let me double check. Because I'm now morbidly curious because I don't think that it's finished. Japan is 41 volumes and ongoing. And we could see volume 40 in English before the end of the year. So.
Yeah, I think volume 40 comes out December 5th.
You're still muted, Miss Izzy.
Imagining that we'll be on a very long wait after 40 again.
I think so too. Yeah. I think we're inching up closer to we'll be waiting 4 to 6 months per volume because we'll be current with Japan.
I'm surprised we're getting 4 this year.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Good to see you too.
Because when we planned this, I remember we were like, I think it's only going to be 3 if we're lucky. And now it looks like maybe 4 if we're lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know when we get towards the end, I do think it's naturally starting to get to its conclusion.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long that's going to take to finally get there. I don't see Yona going beyond 50, though. I would be shocked if it did with the way things are going with what we currently have in English.
Yeah.
It would have to be a whole brand new arc. So that's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to forget what happens in the volumes, which is why we're rereading it and discussing it at length.
Yes. I had some revelations this time. I took notes, so I was on it.
I'm proud of you.
It's because I read them on my iPad digitally from the library because I didn't feel like coming upstairs to get my copies. Do you love a little lazy unlocked? Maybe. The dog also had surgery, so I just like didn't want to tempt her for the stairs. So I was
I
like,
at
we're gonna
least like
compromise.
put sticky tabs where I wanted to like take notes,
Mhm.
but I was kind of in a hurry when I was reading them because I was so behind. So I don't know
Mhm.
how many I actually wrote on, but I at
Yeah.
least knew
See
I
that.
wanted to talk about something there, so I put a sticky there. So as we're going through,
Works.
I'll go through my stickies.
I just want to say I didn't do stickies or notes, so I'm just winging it.
That's fine. That'll be me
That's
on 14
totally
and 15.
fine.
I'll reveal the
"Oh,
secret when we
wait,
get there."
right. Hey, Yona, I need to catch up.
So again, we are entering spoiler territory. If you do not want to be spoiled, you have been thoroughly warned and given plenty of time
Yeah,
to
run
run
away.
Run away.
All right. So let's start our discussion of volume 11. So I am going to put these little banners so that anybody watching it back
Perfect.
can kind of skip to wherever they want.
Mhm.
Mm.
I realized I could do that today, so we're doing it.
No, I love this. I was like, that's such a good idea.
Okay, so first things first, I just had to bring up this little piece of art.
They're
Just at the
so
very beginning of volume 11
cute.
with all the tiny ones and the big leaves. Like it
Little
just
babies.
made my heart happy, so I just had to put that out there. Because the first chapter we get in volume 11 is them when they're little.
Mhm.
And we get to see like their dynamic when they're little and how it really
Mhm.
hasn't changed. I mean,
Yeah.
Hawk still pays particular attention to Yona and teases her and all those kinds of things. And Kitsuwan can kind of see through it all. And then
Mhm.
they escape the palace. And while they're out and about, she can't really see. So, of course, Hawk is adorable here and still taking care of her and lifting her
Yeah.
up and just
I
being cute. And
particularly
then he reaches back
enjoyed-
to like hold Suwon's hand and it's
Mhm.
adorable.
Not
I'm
gonna leave him
like,
behind.
in another life, like, why couldn't all three of them just be together? That would have made me so much
No.
happier. But I can't ask that of other cultures right now. And then while they're out eating, we see Yona and her cute little stuff in her dumpling face.
Mhm.
She's just so cute.
I felt like this gave us context for their relationship a lot better than any of the flashbacks have so far.
Agreed.
And I really
I
liked that
mean,
part
the like
in
when
this
they got
volume.
sick one was good, but this one is better.
Like it just gave
Mhm.
you more of like what they were like as kids, all three as a trio, like what chaos ensued, where kind of some of the like more of Hawk's feelings towards Suwon in this volume as well.
Oh yeah, you definitely get to
Mhm.
see more of how Hawk feels.
Which we didn't really get in the sickness one, in my opinion, really as much. So I feel like we're getting the taste for like what Hawk and Suwon's relationship is.
I
Here.
mean, here he
Yeah.
is, like totally sticking up for Suwon.
Yeah.
And he's got
Exactly.
his death glare on as a little tyke.
Mm.
You know, and then of course someone kidnaps beautiful little girl Yona, and they ask the guy for help, but he won't tell. Suwon won't say her name. He's like,
Mhm.
nope. And of course I wrote right there shield, but that's my personal opinion. That's me projecting.
Now we see more of that, I feel like, as we keep going here.
And I feel like on reread I'm noticing it even more than I did the first go through.
I like how like this little story too showed how like Suwon could talk people into doing things. Like just his calm, cool, collected, and just talking to people can make them do what he wants, and how, you know, either manipulative that is or how persuasive that is. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And I have to point this out because I thought it was funny. Like Tiny Hawk tackling him. He thought he was a bad guy. Like it just made me laugh so hard. He's like, wait, you're from the Earth tribe. And then of course Grandpa's like, what did you do to my grandson?
You can't have him.
We love Gramps. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And then of course my little heart went doki doki here.
Yeah.
They're so cute as little
She
kiddos.
doesn't want Suwon's comfort in that moment. She wants Hawk's. And I just
Yeah.
But then, you know, Hawk and Suwon have their discussion where they talk about what they noticed about each other and about their strengths and stuff. And it was just so great. Let's
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's I think that was the thing I walked away from this volume, like from the flashback part the most with this volume, that I don't know if I picked up as much my first read through, to be honest.
Mhm.
No, I completely agree. Like, I could understand, like, when I first read it, I understood why Hawk was, like, hurt and offended because they were friends. But
Yeah.
you didn't realize the level of respect they had for each other so much on a first read as you do on a second read, because you know so much more. And it's fantastic. I love it so much.
Like, if they wanted to keep like putting out these like childhood stories of all three of them, I would gladly like.
I would take a side series of their childhood.
Exactly.
That'd be
Yeah,
so
I would
cute.
totally read
Oh
that.
my gosh. Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Give me that. Give me them in chibi form, and give that to me in like their story. Like, please.
Yeah.
I need it. And then we go back to our normal crew. Yona's still training with the sword, and I just love like how comfortable they all get with each other so quickly. Because even Sheena, who's like the introvert of all introverts out of this group, has his own way of being comfortable with the group. And even here, you even have Tiny Owl like stealing from Gija's bowl. Like, that's just the dynamic they have. They tease each other, they joke with each other. And I just love that dynamic and how quickly it comes around.
Yeah, the banter between everybody is just gold. Like, I love it so much.
And then, you know, Yona's hurt. And so they're talking about applying salve to her wound. And of course, Jeha's like, someone called? I have a real gift for gently applying salve. Like, and then, of course, Hawk's answer, yanking on his ponytail, is, no one called you. It's just amazing. I love it.
Well, and we get our forehead kiss in this one that is just absolutely delightful. Those little moments are the only thing that keep me going sometimes. Seriously. I'm like, I need them together. I need more. I know we're not there yet, but I need it.
Yeah. But then we also have Fierce Hawk here. He's like, no matter how strong Her Highness becomes, no matter what she aims to achieve, it's my job to put a blade in you. And then he and Zeno just have this moment where he asks, you know, why are you being so reckless? And, you know, the young lady will not be okay without you, basically. And we love Zeno.
Yeah.
Zeno's great.
He is. And
then the forehead kiss of all forehead kisses.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
So cute. So
I
cute.
love them. And see, the first time I read through this, I did not root for them. I didn't. But
that's interesting.
I didn't root for them until like the 20s volumes. Then I was like, okay, I like you, Hawk. You can be with Yona. But I think it's because I didn't know any of the dragons well enough to know yet. So all of these things I like put off to the side. It's like, I don't know. I'm not believing it yet. He's just trying to make her comfortable. But now I know better. And I'm just like, ah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's really cute.
Yeah.
Zeno must be protected at all costs. We love Zeno. We'll talk about him a lot more in our next live show.
I can't wait.
Yes. But yes, Zeno must be protected. We all agree. But because of forehead kiss, Yona starts to get embarrassed around Hawk, and things start to get a little interesting around everywhere. And she gets more embarrassed when Hawk is helping her out and things like that. And then the whole moment with Jeha and Gija on the bridge just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the rotted old bridge and Gija starts to fall through. And funny. And then Yona's forced to face more of what her father really did it with the kingdom in this volume.
Mm-hmm.
And even Zeno's like, so the emperor's lost his power and the local families in the area have gained it instead. It all reminds Zeno of King Il and the tribes of Koka. And everybody's like, shh, don't do that.
Gosh.
But like she sees like what was going on
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of stuff. And so they build a big tent where most of the people can sleep. And then Yona's going to sleep by herself. And they're like, no, you're going to sleep with Hawk. And she's like, how about, how about Yoon? How about Geisha? And then Jaeha's like, I'll join her. Zeno too. No, the yellow one has no combat skills, and the green one is dangerous himself. And then Hawk's like, do you have a problem sharing with me? And then, of course, it's the awkwardness. And then she walks into the tent, and he's just like sexily lounging. And I'm just like, Hawk, cut her some slack. And then there's the moment where they toss Jaeha out of the tent.
I'm looking at this.
Hawk's like, Yoon, tie this guy up. You can tie me up really tight. Huh? I don't want to. Like,
that part.
It's that camaraderie that they feel for each other, and it's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yona's awareness of the situation, she continues throughout the course of the series to notice that even though her father was a good man, he wasn't a great king. And it's something that she's had to wrestle with. And she's starting to realize that maybe Suwon knew more than she did.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that way.
I mean, I feel like even like through this, every volume you see Yona just grow further and further on her journey to knowing and understanding the issues within her kingdom.
And she's also learning to grow and understand her own feelings for a certain bodyguard.
Well, yeah, that too. But I feel like I know a lot of people complain about her being like too naive or whatever, but it makes sense. And like, I always enjoy a character that you watch continuously grow. And I just feel like every single volume.
And that's just it. It's not like she keeps reverting back to being the spoiled princess that we met in volume 1. She's not reverted back that far the entirety of the rest of the series.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
She knows that her life is very different now. She does not have the protection of her father anymore. And so she only relies on people that she actually trusts. And, of course, I have to bring up this moment because they're laying in the tent. So she starts to like kind of touch him and explore him a little bit. And all of a sudden he looks up and he's like, tease me too much and I'll attack you. And then she talks about here that she's feeling a little more nervous than usual being that close to him. So,
yeah.
So we are now in Kai. And they go into this village. And they start to learn about a grain that could prosper in the area of the fire tribe where things don't really grow. And things like that. But it's very well protected. And so Yoon ends up making a deal with this old man to get the grain and stuff. But the old man thinks that Yoon's a girl. So
yeah,
the old man thinks he's making a very different bargain than the one he actually made.
Yeah. Which is always funny. Yoon is constantly being mistaken as a girl and just like rolls with it every time. Like, whatever. This is fine.
Because he knows he's the pretty boy. I'm not sure Suwon planned on that. He definitely wasn't planning on Yona walking in.
Yeah.
But I have no idea.
I don't know. It'll be interesting if that'll be revealed as a thing that was
thing later in the series, yeah. But yeah, everyone starts helping out in this village. And then we see Yoon coming back all dressed up to dance. Because they talk about how they're entertainers and dancers and all these
the perfect cover.
Things. And then we get to a point where the dancing happens, the celebration happens, and then we get to basically the chapter of volume 12. But in a lot of ways, the one thing that happens is the hairpin.
Mm-hmm.
The hairpin gets brought back out because Hawk had saved it. And she's like, I will never wear it again. And so it's really interesting. And then while she's dancing, like, we have these gorgeous moments. She's got this sword instead of a fan, and there's just so much symbolism in all of it. It's just amazing.
That artwork, I agree, was stunning. From the chat. Like, absolutely. It was so well done. And I don't feel like dance is easy to illustrate in a manga necessarily, so so good.
No, and there's some conversation between Hawk and Yona. Yona thinks Hawk is joking about all these things that he's been doing with her. We all know he's not, but he says, okay, I won't joke with you like that anymore. So when he starts to like make a move towards her, he's like, oh, I promised you I wouldn't make jokes anymore. Even though we all know he just wanted to touch her to comfort her. So that's all I have to say about volume 11 that I can think of. Did I miss anything that y'all wanted to mention?
The end panel with both their hands on the pen, the hairpin.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a moment.
Oh yeah, this one here.
It surprised me. I was like, oh yeah, this is the moment.
Yes. All right. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
We got some stuff in the chat.
Let's see. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the art of her dress and her dancing. Anytime she's in her like dancing attire throughout this chunk of the series, it makes me so happy.
I'm so glad it made the cover on the next one.
Right?
Whoa, it's so pretty.
Yes. The Green Dragon's trying to figure out his feelings as well, and it's really interesting. Exactly. And I think all of them do to an extent. Like, they care about her as a human, not just as the Red Dragon.
Yeah.
And I do think Jehaz is probably a little stronger than the others. Gija's is very innocent. Like, Gija just doesn't understand in a lot of ways. Sheena just adores Yona for being there for him. Yeah. I don't think it's romantic for him.
I think it's more of a friend.
Like, if anything, I think he's like Ace and just doesn't feel that for people.
Possibly.
And then Zeno is just like the big protective dad that just wants to make jokes. He is straight yellow all the way through. He is sunshine personified. He's all about having fun and keeping everybody as relaxed as possible. So I don't think his is romantic at all. But Jeha, maybe. All right. I think that is it for volume 11 for us. So let's move on to volume 12, which is probably my favorite cover of the bunch, maybe 14. But I also love 15 because I love Riri, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh,
I'm skipping ahead here.
Is one of my favorite covers as well, I know.
Alrighty. And I just have to point this out.
I was just gonna say that.
I love some of these opening panels are some of the funniest things.
They are.
I don't think this tent is big enough for 5 full-grown men.
I love that one. Like, I was just giggling when I opened this volume.
Just like all of it, and all the ladies falling on Hawk. And then Yona walks in and she's like, take your time. She's like, hold on. It's fine. Letting loose is normal at a festival. I'll practice my sword work myself today. And it's like, no, you don't get it. And then the old man realizes that Yoon isn't a girl. and gives you the grain anyway, which is amazing because we love that generosity.
Yeah.
And that's when we see Fire Tribe soldiers in the country of Kai. So politically, things get more intriguing because we bring the Fire Tribe back in. But this time it's the older brother and the dad.
Yeah. It's a mean choice to make people make.
Either. Like in a batch of 5, I could be like, okay, this one might be my favorite out of these, but I also really like this one.
I mean, I don't feel like there's a bad cover. That's the hard part.
Right. There's not a bad one in the bunch, but I just have my favorites, you know. Let's see. But yeah, so we see that General Kang Soo-jin, which is the general of the Fire Tribe, we see him basically becoming a traitor with one of the warlords of Kai and making plans to enter the Empire. And, you know, it's all been planned for a while now. The last thing they expect is Yona and the Black Dragon and the
Happy Hungry Bunch.
Dark Dragon and the Happy Hungry Bunch? I forget which one it is. They don't expect our crew to be there.
I think it is Dark Dragon, yeah.
But because they see those soldiers, they decide to head back to Koka. We see Suwon visit General Guntae to kind of be like, hey, you got my back? Which was really well done, in my opinion. Right. Best name ever for bandits. I completely agree. And so now we're in the capital city of the Fire Tribe, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where we go. They leave the oldest son there when the dad goes off to war, even though he tries to go with his dad, which is when you knew something was up.
And
Psycho.
Yona's just felt like something's been up for a while. And then we see that they're breaking through all the checkpoints. They're invading Koka and coming straight for Seika. And it's really interesting because the general, the actual general, acts very nonplussed about it. But the oldest son is like ready to take action. He's like, hey, let's do this. Let's protect our country. And then the general's like, nope, I'm going to go do this in your stead. And it's like, dude, you're really bad at being a traitor.
Yes.
Like, this whole thing just made me angry. I'm like, dude, I really do hate you. You're just awful. Like,
this I don't love this volume.
No, this one's not one of my favorites. Volumes. I love the cover, but the inside's not so much. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
We are talking full spoilers, Laura, so you've been warned.
I think
I feel like I deem this like one of the war volumes, and it's not that like the war stuff's uninteresting, it's that like it's so drawn out, and I'm just like so annoyed at all of them being dumb. Every time I'm like, y'all are so bad at this. Why are you so bad at this? I mean, I want you to be bad at this, but also why are you so bad at this?
Great art in the meantime, like
yes.
Always yes on the art.
I mean, it's like the art's always beautiful, but I'm just like, why are y'all so bad at this?
We find out that the general's son, the oldest son, has basically been gaslit his entire life, told that he was a descendant of the Crimson Dragon King, and all of these things, and so that's what he wanted to grow up to be, was a good leader. But then we jump to our adorable, derpy younger brother that we love. And he's all about protecting his people. And Taejun really goes the extra mile to try to protect the village that he's in. And he even goes forward and he's like, hey, stay back. I'm not going to let you through here. And he's just like all in his face about it. And like all the soldiers come up And then the warlord comes forward and he's like, hey, what's taking so long? Mow these guys down. And then, of course, when he figures out who Sonny is, he takes another path. And that's when you're like, dude, you just gave yourself away. And then we kind of jump back to Seika and we're seeing everything kind of play out where they're not really wreaking as much destruction as they thought should be happening, but like things are still happening.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that's 100%. Again, like it's a useful volume. I just like get so bored.
Yeah,
It's not what I want.
It's definitely not one of my favorites. There's some really cute moments in it. Like, Hawk, you're on my head.
Yeah.
Yona. Like, there's still some little good moments that make it feel like a good Yona volume. But yeah, the war stuff just takes on a lot. But yeah, then they start to strategize with the knowledge that they have to try to save the people and protect them, because all Yona wants is for her kingdom to be safe.
Yeah.
And so foreign invaders, she's like, yeah, let's take action. Let's go.
Which is the best.
And then, you know, we have Yoon being their sweet selves. And it's like, I don't want you to put yourself in danger. And I love Yoon for that, because sometimes Yona needs to hear that from someone that's not Hawk.
Agreed.
Because Hawk is very quick to say those things, but sometimes the others not so much. They just kind of follow what she says. But yeah, it's really, really good. I just love this series. And yes, I agree, this one isn't quite as engaging as some of the others, just because it is so strategy and war centered and battle centered. And they find out that their real target is to go to the palace and to get Suwon.
Which, like, was not a surprising reveal, I feel like, because, I don't know, that dad has always felt so slimy every time he's, like, the few times we've had him before.
So much.
Like,
he's delusional.
Yeah.
He is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, period, end of story.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, it wasn't a surprise. So I was like, yeah, this tracks that you think this is the right plan for you.
And then Yona is just showing that she is a strong, capable female and wanting to still go after the bad guys. You know, and this guy clearly is delusional. And then they acquire horses to try to catch up. And things get a little silly for a minute because Zeno's just like draped all over the horse. But we also get Hawk and Yona on the horse together.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
I do too. It's so good. And then we run into Suwon, because Suwon's not dumb and he figured it out. And we see the strength that he wields. And I do love the banter between him and his like military leader. They have a pretty good rapport together. And then we see Suwon's Hawk. And, you know, he's like, today's battle is just the first small mountain. And then we get a little break and get a bonus chapter at the hot springs, which is something that we needed in the middle of all this craziness.
Agreed.
Some comic relief.
The comic relief. So, yeah, in this one, you know, basically everybody's getting in the baths, but Gija refuses to take off his like cloak and stuff, and they think it's because of his scars, and he's like, no, they're nothing, and it all comes down to a spider.
Yeah,
a spider on his back, and it's hilarious. And Jaha's going around doing beauty exercises and trying to keep everybody from seeing Gija's back, because he thinks that's why and it's hilarious. Like the whole thing is really funny, and it's just a really great moment. And we also get a little bit of backstory on Gija and how Gija got his scars on his back and all those kinds of things. So it was an interesting way to round out a volume that isn't necessarily one of my favorites, but it's still important. So
Yeah, that
Don't
bonus
think
scene is the only thing that made this volume worth it.
it's the bonus chapter.
Yep,
and
that was
Gija
it.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this one is a tougher one. Like I said, there are some really good moments in here that I really liked, and there are things that are definitely important for the movement of the battle stuff. You know, we get to see Suwan as a strategist. We get to see that Yona and Suwan want the same thing for the kingdom. Like more and more, we see them ending up in the same places because they both want the same things for their kingdom. So I think that's it for 12. Is that it for you guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I forgot all about the whole scar thing on Gija's back and everything with his dad and stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. We are now moving on to volume 13 that again has more battle. Not quite as much as the last one though.
No, not as much.
Because it's like wrapping up the battle stuff.
Yeah.
And they are really smart strategy wise, and they put tigers like hides on the horses to like make them think that they're actually riding tigers when they're not.
Yeah. That part shocked me. I'm like, wait a minute, how did I forget that?
I was so confused.
I'm like, oh, they're horses. Okay.
Because they were like, they said that, like the people attacking them, and I was like, what?
What?
How did we, like, I completely, and I was like, oh, never mind. Same thing. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're good. I didn't forget a major thing.
I was like, this
but,
is
then we have another moment where I'm calling Suwan the shield again, and he says it's my job to ensure that we lose as few citizens as possible today. And in a lot of ways, he's just acting as a shield, not only for the quote-unquote red dragon, but also for the entire kingdom of Coca. I swear he's the shield. I'm sorry. I'm projecting again. We don't know yet.
This is very different
canon-wise. We don't
the
know.
Suwan we get in volume, what was it, 38?
I haven't read 38 yet.
Oh, okay.
Neither have I.
What? I have 37 and 38 sitting there waiting.
I have 36 through 38 to still read.
Guys.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting until we get there with the live show. No, I'll get confused now. This is the problem. I will come on here next month and spoil something unintentionally.
Okay. Well.
And then we see Gunte showing up as backup for Suwan and his crew, and no one knew that they had it. And I love Gunte's reaction. We haven't seen battle for a while. Unleash yourselves today. And he's just like, let's go, murder them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of this is great. And then we have Hawk and crew showing up. And again, I love them on the horse together. I had this as a thumbnail for my members only vlogs for like the first 5, I think. Just because I love that image so much.
So good.
But yeah. And then we see how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs this man really is. But then we see Yona come up and talk to General Sujin.
That's some guts right there.
And so, I love
volume 1 Yona would never, but volume 13 Yona, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
After he
and I love what she says to him. It's so good because it's you don't even realize how many of your people's entire lives are spent keeping you alive. You are not fit to rule anyone. And I'm just like, yes, go. Preach to that man. It's amazing. And then she brings up Taejun and how she wishes he could see the man he's become. And then, of course, Yona and Suwan, once again, see each other and make eyes at each other.
Yeah.
Because Yona's starting to understand why Suwan took the throne. And then Hawk and crew leave. But one of the general's own soldiers is the one to spear him through and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like,
delightful.
You're no longer the Crimson Dragon King we looked up to.
Wasn't that his son? Like his older son?
Well,
no, it was one of the random
he said the
soldiers.
blood of the Crimson Dragon King runs in you, so he thought he was.
No, I know that, but the guy that killed him, I thought was his son.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, just a soldier.
Not
Not his son. But then the son does go to Kiryu Palace to ask Suwon's forgiveness and to pay penance.
Oh, that's right.
For whatever he thinks. And he's like, nope, the Fire Tribe needs you. You're a strong leader. You are not like your father. And I'm going to appoint you chief of the Fire Tribe, which was fantastic. But he wanted him to go and see Taejun because Suwon had heard what Taejun was up to in his little villages and his clinics and everything he's doing out there. And so, of course, we go and see adorable, chaotic Taejun running all over, taking care of people. And then he sees his brother. He's got a mask on his face, and he like flips it up and runs away. And I think it was really humbling for the new Fire Tribe chief to have a good chat with his brother.
Yeah.
I mean, I never cared whether or not father was the Crimson Dragon King. He was my father and I loved him. And he did. He loved his father because he was his father, not for any other reason. And then the villagers start to mention Yona, and Taejun starts to freak out, of course. And because they had dropped off the grain on their way through to this village. And then Suwon talks about his next destination to go talk to Ri Hazara, the warlord that had helped the traitor. The traitor chief. And it really shows like his political upbringing and how he was let in on all sorts of meetings where like Yona wasn't.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, I mean, I really do think they thought that it was going to be him and Yona married.
Yeah.
So of course he already was affiliated, but still, it gave him extra access in a way.
Agreed. Also because of his father's power that he wielded.
Yeah, that too. But I felt like Suwon in this one, I thought it was interesting to see him give grace to the guy's son.
Yeah.
Who's going to take charge. Like, that just surprised me in ways because I don't know that I expected it.
The first time through, I definitely didn't expect it. On a second read, it makes way more sense.
It does make more sense. Because he's smart. On a second read.
He knows what his country needs. And that makes a huge, huge difference. But yeah, he will defend his kingdom no matter what. And then we cut over to the Wind Tribe, and we see the old chief and the current chief, since Hawk is not chief right now. And he asks, do you really think Lord Hawk died? And they're like, no way. And Gramps' answer is, I'd murder him myself if he let himself be killed. And so it was just good to spend a little minute with the Sky Tribe because they're fun. And then we head to Water Tribe lands and we learn some things about the Water Tribe. Was there... Oh, yeah. We see Hawk and Yona chatting about all sorts of things and about how a lot of their memories about Suwon and the hawk and things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot that they were gonna go buy things, and like
Yeah.
all like, let's go, and they're like, you're not getting anything. And so they're just kind of running around, seeing what's up, doing some shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Zeno helping the young lady, which is a little old lady he's carrying on his back. Because, anyway.
Reasons.
We
haven't none of those reasons yet, but reasons.
And then they all start like selling their bodies and hugs and things.
Mm-hmm.
Attracting
I love when he's like,
And
you better give me some customers. Hurry up. Go.
Yeah, we see Yona get jealous as well when Hawk starts hugging these ladies, and you know, Jaha's putting her mind to rest. Hawk is already yours. Staying at my side is basically his job. And then she walks off, and he's like, my dragon blood sure is noisy. I wish it wouldn't confuse me at moments like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, Hawk and Yona start to go around together, and Ao's along for the ride.
I love that little montage of them like.
And then he bets on Yona to hit a target in the dead center to get the one score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do love that moment.
And then he's like, Isn't my girl amazing? And I love that he calls her my girl right there, because
Mm-hmm.
we all know she is. And it was so good.
It's so cute.
And then Yona's like, lately his smiles have seemed so sad. I wish he always smiled this way. I need to do my best to make that happen. And I'm just like, so cute.
Yeah.
And then we get the little backstory where Hawk fights Gunte for the first time and gets his title of Thunder Beast. Which I love that because it was too
very cute.
All right. Anything else in this one? Did I miss something?
I think so. That was my only note was just Suwon giving grace. So
yeah,
this felt like a good like continuation, like clean up the war element, the battle. Let's you know transition.
Wrap up the time with Suwon a little bit and move on to the next part. Which moves us to our volume 14 discussion. And I feel like I'm talking too much, so I'm going to start talking less.
I have bad news. I didn't read 14 and 15.
You didn't reread them. You've read them before.
Well, I've read them, but I reread them. So we're going to see how much I remember. That's going to be the fun part. I'm like skimming it right now while we chat just to see if and I'm remembering it already. So that's the good news. But I miscalculated my time today, to say the least. The ADHD brain struck. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, Jihad tries to recruit Hawk to go to the red light district. And he's like, no, I'm not going. He's like, but I can't take anybody else because they're pure and innocent. He's like, okay.
I love that moment. And they're all like, excuse me.
And then Yona says, see you later then. And Hawk's like, I'm not going. And you see Yona with her like, really? And then she tells Jihad to be careful. And then
and we get that big deep dive of Jaha's feelings, which I did enjoy. And I like that we're getting that finally because we do need it. Like, it's not been... Yeah, he's been toying with it, but I feel like him on his own, you get that moment of him really debating things.
Yeah, and then he goes there and he gets the poisoned rice wine. And things start to get interesting. He wakes up a lot quicker. Yona finds him.
And then they put him to sleep and go to try and investigate pretty much what's going on.
And they lock him up, and he's like basically coming down off the drug high and going through withdrawal in a way. And then Yona had fallen asleep near Jaha. Hawk walks in, and he's not comfy with that.
And Jaeha is just very upset that they left him behind also. I do love this panel. Oh, let me not drop my manga and close it. This one in particular where it's and how's like,
yeah.
Right, but I love this one where clearly he's shivering and afraid.
I know. It's like
He's
the polar
afraid of what
opposite
Jaeha will
moments.
do. But then we're walking around this city, clearly full of people who are completely drugged. Things are not good.
Dead body.
Yeah, dead
body
body
in the water.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
And then talk about how Yona talks to Jaeha about how she has an extra grudge against it for how it hurt him.
Yeah.
How she really wants to
That
wipe
was
it out. And then we run into Lady Riri, who also wants to protect this
Love
village
her.
and drive the drugs out. But Riri doesn't know how to do that. But she sees Yona and the crew on the street, and they start to work up a small friendship in a way. Riri starts to notice them as they're going around town and starts to follow them. And then we get to see, again, the beautiful Yona dancing.
Is that a bowl on her head?
Kind of. I want to say yes. But it might be a hat because there is actually a brooch on it.
Yeah.
But it could be a hat that they converted it, or a bowl that they converted into it.
I mean, who
and
knows?
Yona knew she was going in there as bait,
Right.
and the way she dances is to like lure them and all that kind of stuff. And it's amazing.
Honestly, I think it is a bowl.
Right?
It could be a bowl.
It looks like a bowl.
It very well could be a bowl.
It's some
to
traditional item that we have no idea about, most likely, but
yeah,
it's still interesting.
I mean, she can rock whatever, but
yeah, I mean, she looks great.
Yeah.
But then Riri starts to get attacked, and of course, Yona drops all her cover and kicks this man in the face.
Yeah,
and I love her for it.
Yep.
God, she just
the further we go, the more
right? Just like nothing's a big deal. And can we talk about that shot here? Like,
right?
Can we
Hawk
pet him a little bit?
Okay, but Yona's bowl. That's a bowl.
Right?
But we're just gonna pet Hawk a little bit more.
I know.
Yeah.
I need more Hawk.
I'm done petting the Hawk now.
I love how Jaeha like commends her for her kick.
I know, right?
That was my favorite.
And I do agree that seeing Riri and Yona together does show how Yona's matured so much. Because Riri still has some of those things that Yona used to have.
Yeah.
And we see the difference between them. And I think that helps you really understand how far Yona's grown. If you weren't paying much attention to that. But like, she looks so sexy here. Like, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, Yona, stop it.
Yeah.
But then Yona starts to get attacked because they wanted more dancing. And of course, Zeno steps in and he's like, stop right there. Run, young lady, run. And he tells them, if you need to hit something, hit Zeno right here. And I love Zeno for that. And then we've got Geisha and everybody's coming to protect Yona because we love that.
And she doesn't like it because she knows they're all under the effect of that drug.
Uh-huh. But then we start to see Riri and Yona truly start to form their friendship and get to know one another. And it's great.
Yona comforting her is adorable.
Uh-huh. It's great. We love it. And then we see Riri's determination start to come back. She tells her ladies in waitings that she is going to stay where they're at a little while longer because she wants to fix this.
And her lady in waitings are thrilled by Hawk.
Yes.
And all the boys.
Yeah.
Just all the dragons are like, ooh, what's going on here?
Uh-huh. And then we have group spring bath time where the ladies get to know each other a little better.
Yeah. She finally has some girlfriends.
And that's
Much
something Yona
needed.
desperately needs.
Yeah.
And I feel like she does gain them throughout the course of the series, but this is the first time she's really had a chance to make some true girlfriends who, again, equally hold the kind of power that she does in their own right. And so it's very interesting. And then they go into the brothel again, trying to take things down. They end up taking down all the guys.
Yeah.
And they learn who the drug lord, the drug dealer is. Which is great. And can we just take a moment for Yona and her sword poses? Because I always love her sword poses. And I accidentally tabbed this page twice. It tells you what kind of a hurry I was in, because I was like, I did this twice. Whoop. And again, we get a lot of girl time, and then we get to see the warlord and how he acts. But one of the ladies in waiting ends up accidentally overhearing, because he's actually at the same place that they are.
Yeah.
And so she gets into an altercation and gets stabbed.
Yeah.
And
like, I knew what was going to happen,
really bad
but that still surprised
startled
me.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
didn't expect it.
Yeah. And he's so dark, and Yona still tries to fight back with a sword. And if she hadn't done any training, like, she would not have done well in that altercation.
No.
But because she did have some training, but she does get very severely injured in protecting Riri, and Riri gains this amazing admiration for Yona. She's like, I want to be like that. I want to be just like you. And that's kind of where this volume ends. And I love the way their friendship grows, because it's very organic for the situations that they're in. You know, they did just run into each other several times, and that's how they gained their friendship. And that made me so happy. Yona and Riri's friendship really is some of the best content we get in this chunk of volumes, because it's so necessary for Yona to have female friends.
Exactly.
Especially culturally, because a lot of times, especially in royal settings in a lot of Asian countries, men and women are very separated. So she needs friends.
Exactly. Yeah, that was, I remember, I'm going to finish rereading the volume in full, like, later, but it is definitely one of my favorite volumes here. Like, Riri, like, in this section, like, of the first half of the story, like, it's just such a fun one, and so necessary, because it's kind of, we kind of are going back to some of the earlier volumes when they were first on their adventures, in a way. Like, they're solving a very, like, specific crime for one area and fixing that issue versus the big picture.
And I do think this series has a great balance of the little picture and the big picture. It's a really good balance, because there is a big picture going on here. I mean, this is a drug lord who's basically enslaved an entire village. Like, it's not a small deal necessarily, but it is very localized. And so having this smaller infiltration party, as you could say, to solve that problem helps the whole kingdom, because the drugs will now stop at the border. They're not going to infiltrate the kingdom.
Yeah. And all these little things that she's doing builds and builds and builds into the bigger picture. So that we see later on.
And the little things that Suwon does helps build the bigger and bigger picture as well, which does some things that are very interesting.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that when we get to those volumes. But on to volume 15, which again is such a lovely cover. The colors are just stunning on it. Like, you can't help but not appreciate Kusanagi Sensei's art.
And we have Riri on the back. I just
realized Riri on the back.
I looked it up and I was like, whoa, wait, that's not Yona or somebody else that we know, or that we're used to seeing on the back. That's Riri.
And the back of 14 is just Yona.
Yeah.
So I believe these go together.
They do.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Sometimes they'll do that where they'll connect a bunch of the backs together.
Like 37, 38 were like that.
I think 36, 37, and 38 all make one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyways,
have to look at that
so
later.
can we just talk about Yona's strength and how she has to stay standing?
Yes.
I love her. I love her so much.
She's gotten so
It's
much
so
stronger.
good. And anytime Sheena's wielding his sword, like, I'm just happy.
Love it.
And he like is getting so upset with everything. And then we have the drug lord freaking out because his face gets cut. And he wants nothing more than to end Yona.
Yep.
It's like it was already cut.
Yeah, I know. It's already cut. Why is he upset?
It's already
about
cut.
it? Like,
don't act like it's your first cut.
But then we have this beautiful moment when she's unconscious, where she's basically seeing all the dragons and how they're dealing with what she's doing. And it's amazing. I just love it so much. And then Yona wakes back up, and then we have little Ow trying to feed her. Just being adorable. It's like, here, have a peanut. You need to eat. And he like puts it on her pillow a couple of frames later. And then he's like, no, and then puts it in her hand. It's so cute. And you know, Hawk caretaking is everything for me. So like this whole moment here, like,
I love it.
I love it so much. When you get a gruff male lead caretaking for the female lead, like every time. But at the same time, she's not afraid to say, don't feel responsible for me getting hurt. These are my injuries.
Yeah.
But then he's like, you're too important to me. And then, you know, we have Yoon applying salve to her back, and Gija walks in. He's like, I'm sorry, I'll leave it once. And then it's like, Jaeha's like, Yona, may I come in? And Gija's like, you'll do no such thing. They're just so funny.
Got the bandages.
And then Riri needs to go back home. So they kind of part ways because they can't keep track of her like they were. And that goodbye is so like sweet. They just get to have this tender moment, and I just love it.
I just love their relationship. It's so cute.
And then she goes home to talk to her father, which is Lord Gunji, I think is how you say his name. And she basically asks her dad to do something about Nadai, the drug. And the dad's like, no, I can't do anything about it. And she's like, but father, I'll fight alongside you. Like, I can do this. But he won't. And so he like locks her up as punishment for disobeying him. And then, of course, she escapes with the one thing that will give her the power she needs to make changes. And you see her father start to like wither away as that decision's made. And then Yona's weak still, so Jaeha starts flying around with her. And then they end up running into trouble, and they try to rest and wait. And Jaeha does his best to take care of Yona, but it also gives him a chance to be alone with her and kind of face his feelings again.
Yeah.
Because he still feels all that confusion. And so, I mean, he works it out by a certain point. And we all squealed when certain things happened, and we were very, very happy. But it's one of those things where Jaeha is warm in ways that are unexpected even to him.
Yep.
And Yona points that out to him, and it's great.
Yep.
And then everybody catches up. And they start to strategize what they're going to do. And then we find out that men are searching for Yona, but they'll take anyone. And then, oh, yay, here's Suwon.
And Riri.
He's going to do his own thing, and he ends up becoming Riri's bodyguard. Him and his soldiers.
Yep.
And so they decide to do what they can. I mean, Suwon wants to fix the problem as well because he's heard about it, so he figures he'll make his way in. And there's all these monsters protecting Yona, as they say. They say the red-haired girl is being protected by monsters. And in their own way, they are monsters, but not the kind of monsters you think of.
And then we have our back cover lineup that comes up here.
Yeah.
Chapter 87.
We have this moment where you can see Sheena fighting in the background, but Suwon's right here. And so I always found that interesting.
Yeah, like this is the one where like I feel like they just keep missing each other, and it's really interesting how they keep missing each other. But barely. Like it's like barely missing each other. But yeah. There's your back covers.
Yeah, exactly. And then we see the grown man pitching a fit. And then Riri's surprised she has to cramp in the room with all the guys. Then Suwon comes out and sees Jaeha doing a little business deal, as you could say. And then Jaeha's like, bye! Suwon goes after him but can't find him, obviously.
I like that his general or whatever is like, why is he wasting this time with this random guy?
Yeah. And then we find out that there are lots of ships coming that are headed this way. And then we see Riri mention Yona, and Suwon gets an opportunity to react to Yona before she sees him. And once again, the staring contest.
Yep.
And can we just take a moment for these amazing men here? Yes? Because we love them. Always. And so Zeno goes to tell everybody about the ships. And he's just going by one instead of Suwon and some things like that. And you see Zeno become intrigued when he sees Suwon, because he hasn't really been with Suwon up close and personal yet.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time Suwon's having a full run-in, I feel like, with all of them together.
Yeah.
So.
Because usually someone's been missing.
And
then Riri's like, let me fight with you, because she really just wants to do her best. And we love Riri so much. And of course, Suwon goes to do what he does best, which is gather whatever they need. And I just love Zeno. Zeno's great.
He is.
Riri goes to talk to the merchants. They aren't listening to her, and then she definitely grabs their attention. So she's like,
Listen.
And startles Suwon by punching the wall behind her.
I love his expression.
He's like, huh? What? And so they're trying to do their best to get everything ready for the coming battle, and that's where 15 ends. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I feel like this is an interesting set of 5 volumes.
It is.
Because I feel like a lot happened, but a lot didn't happen at the same. It's a weird one where I'm like, you can tell we're amping up to stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
We're just
really,
not
we
there
kind of
yet.
had 2 big things happening because we have the Water Tribe stuff and then the stuff with the Fire Tribe.
Yep.
And then we've got a little bit in the middle that was transitional. So yeah, a lot happens in these 5, but it's not one of those things where it's only 1 or 2 things.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I enjoyed them. I'm gonna finish for. I enjoyed them previously, so it's fine. It's just I think it'll be interesting as we continue forward here too, though, on how much I do remember and don't remember. Because I'm still surprised at how much I remember from this one.
I remember like all the key points, but a lot of the smaller details, and my emotions are what have been different through my reread here.
Agreed. I never trust my brain because I can never guarantee what I will or won't remember from a thing. So, seeing what it is that I do for these is surprising.
I think eventually we'll get that piece of information. I don't know when, but obviously not yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, really enjoy the series. None of that has changed.
Yeah, it's still awesome.
And it's so fun to revisit it because, again, a lot of it hits very different now. So I'm very excited for the next set of volumes. 1, they have some of my favorite covers. And 2, it's just, we get a lot of really good things going on in the next few volumes. And I'm very excited. It's so good.
See, I don't remember anything, and then I pick up the volume, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember this. So, I'm excited for my brain to go, oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get some of my favorite covers in the next set, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
And we get the Xeno volume in the next one, where we finally get Xeno's backstory. And Xeno's origin, and I cry every time.
Yeah, so. I'm not ready for that part. I know that's coming, the tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the tears.
It's too good.
Very sad.
All right. Any other final thoughts before we wrap things up?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, so next time we do this, we're going to be streaming this onto everybody's channels, all 3 of our channels. So make sure you're following everybody. I don't remember if I put links down below, but I will as soon as we're done. So make sure you're following both Izzy and Mark. Their content's great anyway, so you should be following them. But anyways, thank you all for being here. I appreciate everybody, and we will see you in 5 weeks with our next discussion.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.